If you feel pressure to have everything in life completely figured out, then it's not because you're behind, but it's because you were taught to aim for perfection. There is a Japanese philosophy called wabi-sabi that sees imperfections and incompleteness as the whole point, not a flaw. And once you start to understand this philosophy, the pressure to be finished, healed, and put together starts to loosen because you realize that you were never meant to be complete in life. Wabi-sabi is what makes us human. Nowadays, there's so much pressure to be complete, otherwise you're not accomplished. We're all exhausted because we're trying to become a finished product in a world that never stops changing. So why should we? Now there's, I feel like, a variety of reasons why we're all experiencing this, from glow up culture to the hardcore locked in stuff and to one size fits all routines. But in reality, life is constantly throwing things at us that requires us to change and evolve constantly in order to experience things to the fullest. So really, you shouldn't feel stuck because you're not where you want to be yet, or you're not a perfect complete picture, but rather you should feel stuck when you're not moving or changing. That's why this pursuit of perfection is so flawed. There is going to be no perfection. There is no destination that we're supposed to all go to, because the whole point is to exist as a imperfection in the world, to try to find your peace. Now, this quiet consistency that wabi-sabi offers just lifts the pressure off of us so much, because it feels so relieving when you realize that you don't have to be right, you don't have to be successful, and you don't have to be perfect all the time. I think a lot of the times we don't actually feel behind, we just feel like an unfinished story. And that's not a problem that society makes it seem to be. It's okay to not have things figured out. It is more than okay to experience things and set your mind towards a certain goal and then halfway through realize that it wasn't meant for you. It's okay to have imperfections, and it's okay to not be good at stuff. Oh, I just thought of this quote that I kept seeing on Pinterest, and it goes something along the lines of, you're never losing if the goal was to experience. And I think that ties in with wabi-sabi. It's not exactly the same. I mean, unless you're trying to be perfect and the goal is to be perfect, then being incomplete or being like unfinished is not a failure. That's how I kind of want to reframe our mindset to be. Let things be as messy as they need to be. It's okay to not have all the answers and to not know what is there at the end of the road, okay? Everyone tries to hide that, but at the end of the day, that's all we're feeling, right? Nobody knows what is gonna happen. Nobody knows exactly what the future holds. And so, what even is the point of dwelling on a perfect story when you have no control over that? Uncertainty isn't a flaw in the process, but it is the entire process. The only way you're gonna start to kind of narrow down on what you know and what you don't know is if you don't know first. You can never get to a point of not exactly perfect understanding of the world, but a better understanding of the world and yourself if you were never an amateur, if you were never incomplete, if you were never broken. How could you be healed? And I feel like a lot of people are ashamed of the messy phases and they feel like they have no control over their own life. It can really feel like you need to quickly lock in and get your life together. Wabi-sabi doesn't treat these failures as a detour, but rather it is the most self-enriching and self-reflective period that you will go through. I feel like the moments where you feel the most lost is when you find parts of yourself that you've never known before. Wabi-sabi teaches you to see the value in these in-betweens, in a world that wants nothing but the best out of you. Like, for example, when you kind of have a relationship that you don't know where it's gonna go, when you have goals that you want to achieve but not a lot of clarity about the process moving forward, when you're not fully healed yet, but you still keep going. Like, I don't think people realize how valuable those moments are. The periods of self-discovery and sitting in the uncomfortable truth. The periods of accepting that you don't have to be whole for you to love yourself. And I think the way that we can apply this to our everyday life is through not rushing the process, not rushing the emotional timelines that we've kind of made for ourselves, and to focus on showing up, not being impressive all the time. To maybe let some questions stay unanswered, you don't need closure to end a chapter. Sometimes it's okay for things to be left unsaid and left open to interpretation. I think it's also about reducing your need to control things and putting labels on everything all the time. A lot of people are hard on themselves, and it's kind of like, I either am good at this or I'm horrible at it. It's important to learn to just be okay with being a beginner. Be okay with learning new things, Be okay with being the worst person in the room at something, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. Maybe the point isn't to fix the unfinished parts of ourselves, but it's to notice the quiet beauty in becoming. Until next time, keep trying your best, because that's more than enough.